Welcome to Hawaii's Big Island.
Hey everyone, it's Shipra.
And it's Shivam.
And welcome to the Big Island.
We're here for 4 days to see all that this island has to offer, from beaches to volcanoes to waterfalls and coffee farms. It's gonna be a fun time here on the island. So we've only been here a couple of hours, but we're already on the move. We came to our first beach here, which is called Magic Sand Beach. We grabbed some food and ended up getting here for sunset. Unfortunately, it's not quite the beach we were expecting from the pictures because there's not a lot of white sand out due to the high tide. But we are getting a lot of the volcanic rock that this island is known for. We also checked into our Airbnb, which is actually feeling like a pretty remote part of the island. Even though it's only 15 minutes from the airport, it almost feels like we're actually inside of a rainforest.
When I see water, all I can think about is aquablation.
We decided to call it night a little bit early today because once the sun goes down here in Kona, there's actually not that much to do. It's a lot less densely populated than Oahu was, but nevertheless, the issue of food still remains here. So in our last trip, we had a lot of problems finding vegetarian options. A lot of restaurants around Hawaii tend to be geared more towards meat or seafood, and that problem is still here on the Big Island. So we decided to end up going shopping, and we ended up going to Walmart and Safeway. And we are now going to just take it easy and determine what we want to do tomorrow.
And regardless of any of Shivam's plans, the only thing I'm really looking forward to is having 100% Kona coffee every single day here. So today is our second day in the Big Island, and we decided that we were going to explore some waterfalls and actually go see a botanical garden as well. So we drove about an hour and a half from Kona into the Hilo area, and our first stop here is Akaka Falls. It's a short hike to go see the falls, so let's go check it out.
So one thing that's very interesting about this island so far is that it's very much in juxtaposition of environments. So we were on the Kona side earlier today, and the Kona side is definitely known for being more dry. Once we came over here to the Hilo side, there's a lot more greenery, and we're definitely in more of a rainforest environment than we were yesterday.
This park is actually reminding me a lot of Puerto Rico with the rainforest vibes. It's pretty similar to a hike we did actually at El Yunque National Park. So Akaka Falls is about 442 feet of a drop, which is about double actually the height of Niagara Falls, which is in Ontario. The largest drop in the world of a waterfall is in Venezuela. However, the largest waterfall in the world is actually Victoria Falls in Zimbabwe. And we're hopefully going to be visiting there this October.
So the waterfall was pretty fun. It took about 20 to 30 minutes to go the entire loop. But the problem I had with this place is that, one, you couldn't see the bottom of the waterfall, and two, you couldn't actually go to the bottom of the waterfall. Two things which would really make a waterfall experience.
So before we head over to our next place, which is the Botanical Garden, we saw a farm stand on the road, so had to get the obligatory coconut water, and it's very delicious. So we just made it to the Hawaii Tropical Bioreserve and Garden. This place is a scientific and educational nonprofit, and it has 2,000 species of plants and animals and various different types of wildlife.
So getting in here was a little bit pricey. It was about $30 per person, but immediately it's already very serene, and that's what I've been liking about this side of the Big Island. I'm really liking it here, and hopefully we can see a lot of cool plants as we walk through.
And bring mosquito repellent, or else they're going to try to sell it to you. I don't know if there's actually any mosquitoes here, but we put a little bit on just to be safe.
So we've come across our first waterfall here at the Botanical Garden. I think there's supposed to be two, and they're actually said to be some of the most beautiful waterfalls here on the island.
These actually look like umbrellas. Can we get these for our wedding?
Sure. We'll just do our wedding right here.
I would like to have a wedding here. That could be fun. So something that's really cool about this garden is that they've brought in plants from all over the world, some of which were actually extinct in the wild. So they've brought them here and preserved them. I just saw there's an interesting tree here from the Seychelles. It has really cool roots that like spread out. It's really cool that they were able to bring a tree all the way from the Seychelles here.
So towards the end of the trail at the Botanical Garden, you actually meet up with the ocean. Unfortunately, there's not really a beach you can go to, but we did just pass Turtle Point. And once again, unfortunately, there wasn't any turtles while we're here. But we did learn some interesting facts about turtles that we never knew before. Apparently, their gender is determined based off of the temperature of the water in which their eggs are kept. So if it's hotter water, it's more likely to produce a female turtle. And if it's colder water, it's more likely to produce a male. Shipra's too overwhelmed with the amount of plants here. She's now tired.
I think it's the humidity. I feel like I need to sit down.
So we just wrapped up at the Botanical Garden, and honestly, it was pretty worth it. It was $30 per person, but there were so many plants there that we've never actually seen in our entire lives. And not to mention a really great view of the ocean, even though we couldn't really access the beach and the waves were pretty intense. But after picking up Shipra's obligatory Hawaiian coffee, we've come to our next place to see, which is Rainbow Falls. This is supposedly a good place to see rainbows, although that's usually right in the morning, so I don't think we're gonna see any today, but it should be a nice waterfall to cap off the day.
So I saw there's actually a viewpoint over there, and I heard from one of the park guides here that apparently if you go up there and look down, sometimes you can go see a rainbow in the mist. I don't see any rainbow. So we came up to the top, but unfortunately we didn't see any rainbow. But nevertheless, the waterfall was quite nice. It's about a 60-meter drop, so it's definitely worth coming to see. So we just came to Richardson Beach, which is in Hilo, and this place is known for having green sea turtles. We're walking around, we haven't seen any yet, but hopefully we'll get lucky. There's a lot of nice little lagoons here, and the current isn't too strong, so you can see a lot of kids swimming and having a good time. We just got back to our Airbnb, and on the way back from Hilo, we actually drove through the Mauna Kea area. We were able to drive through some clouds, which was really cool. Now we're back here just to get ready because we're going to be going snorkeling with manta rays later tonight. But we came back just in time to capture the really beautiful sunset, which we can see happening over the ocean.
Good morning. So this is our third day here on the big island of Hawaii. Yesterday, after getting back from Hilo, we ended up taking a manta ray night snorkeling group tour. So that tour took us out 20 minutes into the water, into a special bay where they have a lot of different manta rays. So manta rays are actually attracted to light because when the light is shined, plankton surfaces towards that light and manta rays come to feed. So what we did is they took out a board on which we held onto and were able to float. And from there, I was able to get a lot of up-close views of manta rays. They were like massive. They're about 6 to 8 feet, but they're completely harmless. They don't have any stingers or anything like that. The only thing they ask you not to do is touch them. So I tried to avoid touching them. They actually came and touched me a couple times, so that was a little bit freaky, but it was still cool. Unfortunately, the downside to the whole experience is you get a lot of seasickness. So even when you're out there floating on the water, it's like a lot of up and down and up and down. I think part of it's a little bit weather related, but at the same time, my stomach was definitely churning.
For me, it was a pretty chill experience other than the fact that I got super seasick, and on the way there, it was pretty bad, and then on the way back, I was barely able to keep it in. There were some people throwing up too, which was really gross. But yeah, it was overall a good experience. I was able to see some of the manta rays from up top. I think I'd definitely like to come back at some point once I hopefully learn how to swim and then can actually experience seeing them underwater as well. So today we've come to the Punalu Black Sand Beach. This is one of the most popular places where you can find black sand on the big island, which is really cool to see. And this is also a really popular place to see sea turtles. Unfortunately, we haven't really been able to find any yet on our time here at the Big Island, but we're gonna explore some more beaches tomorrow as well, and hopefully we can spot some while we're there.
So Shifra, did you know that black sand is actually unlucky if you take it away from the beach?
No, I did not know that.
Apparently, if you take it from the beach, then you're cursed for some amount of years. So the last time we were in Hawaii when I was a kid, my mom took a bag of black sand
Really?
and brought it home. And when she found out it was unlucky, she had to mail it back to Hawaii. Apparently that's like a common thing, like the post office like takes black sand back from tourists.
Oh, that's so funny. She felt like it was unlucky for her?
Well, I mean, whether it's unlucky or not,
She didn't want to take the chance.
no one wants to take the chance, yeah.
So far I liked Oahu the best, I think. The beaches are really nice there. I feel like the beaches here are really rocky, so it's not really a pleasant swimming experience. Like you gotta have good swim shoes. And then it's like kind of bumpy when you walk in the water. So coming here, don't expect those white pristine beaches, but it's definitely a different kind of experience since it's a volcanic island. This isn't even sand, this is just rock. This is actually volcanic rock. If you look at it, look. It's much, much less fine than what sand would be. The granules are much bigger in diameter. So our next stop today is Hawaii Volcanoes National Park. So we've just come over here to the Iki Trail. Iki Trail actually leads you down into a crater that was formed as a result of an eruption in 1959. So Hawaii is an interesting place because it's an island, so it might make you wonder, where did all of the wildlife here come from? And a lot of it is imported, as you would think. So comes, you know, birds fly here, a lot of sea life comes here through the ocean. But then there's also these things called vegetation mats that travel across the ocean that can bring all sorts of different wildlife here, like amphibians, for example. And one thing that's pretty interesting is last night at our Airbnb, it was pretty late at night, like around 10 p.m. And it sounded like there were just birds chirping, like crazy loud birds chirping, as you would expect maybe in the morning. So it was really weird. We had to shut all of our windows just so that we could go to sleep. And I looked it up this morning, and it turns out there's an invasive species of frogs here called the kokui frogs. And those specifically chirp at night and sound like birds. And what's interesting is that they weren't there the day before, so I don't know. Maybe they're picky about what days they want to bother us. So this is kind of like that hike that we did in Crater National Park, where it was all downhill all the way and super easy. And then on the way up, Shivam was huffing and puffing.
I wasn't the only one huffing and puffing. So after about 15 minutes of hiking down, we've made it to the crater. And I think a couple things that are interesting to me about this place is immediately just walking on it, it feels very soft. It feels like the rock is almost hollow, which I guess maybe if lava is coming down, some air is getting trapped inside of it. So like when I step on it, it almost feels a bit spongy. And the other cool thing about this place has got to be, it almost feels like you're on another planet. Like it feels like I'm in Interstellar. I am Matthew McConaughey walking on a different planet with Matt Damon, and Shipra's about to backstab me and throw me off a cliff.
Sounds about right. So even despite the fact that when you look online it says it's going to be like 70-ish degrees here, the sun is beating down and it feels really hot. So you wear sunscreen, you bring a good amount of cover so that you're protected from the sun. I actually had to steal Shivam's hat, which he actually stole from me to begin with and claimed as his own. So I've taken it back for myself now.
I thought maybe after coming here I could convince Shipra that we can go to Mars whenever that space travel opens up, but it looks like she's having none of it.
Is it this hot on Mars too?
It's a lot colder.
Oh yeah, so that's fine. That works.
You'll freeze to death instead.
Oh.
So we just came to the Kilauea Crater. We actually drove down a little bit through the Volcanoes National Park and saw a few steam vents along the way. And once we got here, we were also able to see a few of the steam vents inside of the crater itself. So an interesting thing about this place is that this is actually the world's most active volcano, which is surprising to me because honestly there's so much built up around this place. You wouldn't expect so many things to be around a place that is classified as the world's most active volcano. And yet here we are, walking right next to it. I think we were a little bit disappointed though, because we can't really see any lava or magma, I guess. Once it comes on over ground, it's called magma. Maybe there might be some at night, but it's unlikely. You have to be here right at a specific time when there's an eruption event. I think they can predict some of that stuff, but unfortunately it doesn't look like it's going to be happening today.
There's nobody here. It just feels like it's completely deserted. I guess maybe we're here at a time that's like not popular for people to visit, which is good for us, but it's surprising that given this is the world's biggest volcano that there's really nobody here looking at it. So you can't come to Hawaii without having some shave ice, so we came to a popular place here called Gecko Girlz. We got the cherry blossom one, which has some macadamia nut ice cream as well, cherry syrup, strawberry syrup, and some mochi with it. So let's give it a taste. I haven't had shave ice in so long. It's actually really good. You should try it too. So Shivam says he doesn't like shave ice, so what are your impressions, Shivam?
It's pretty good, because I was expecting more of like a snow cone style, but this is...
They have that style too.
Yeah, this is delicious.
Yeah.
And while Shipra was actually out over there, I was here in the parking lot, because parking here is crazy expensive for some reason, and there's a full-blown fight while she was gone. Oh. There was two women, full-grown women, that were super drunk and punching each other right next to the car here. Some guy pulled up and he was like yelling at them. He was like, "Get out of here! Get out of here! I'm trying to park! I'm gonna call the police!" And then they left eventually. Anyways, this makes up for that. And I gotta give one shout out to my friend Sam for recommending this, because it's very good. So it's our last full day here on the Big Island, and we woke up this morning and went to a place called Kona Coffee Heaven. Unfortunately, the coffee was a little bit dark roast for us. I think Shipra didn't really like it too much, and the croissant that we got had this really disgusting craft cheese, so I wouldn't really put it as a recommend, unfortunately. But we've stopped over here now at a place called Greenwell Farms, where we're going to go on a coffee tour to see how coffee is made here on the Big Island.
Harvesting
Hibiscus
flower. See what side of my head he puts it on.
I don't remember what side she said to put it on for if you're taken.
So on the left side, it means that you are married. On the right side, it means that you're single.
All right, here it goes. Well, you're not married.
Shivam wants me to be single again.
I don't smell a coffee. I smell flower. We just finished up the tour here at the Greenwell Farm in Kona. So it's a free tour, which is really awesome. So you can come here. They have like, I think 6 or 7 tours per day. And they have a tour guide that takes you through the coffee farm. And they talk about how coffee goes basically from seed to roast, and they tell you the whole process. So if you're interested in learning about coffee, this is a really great place to come. And it's free, and there's free samples as well. So it's definitely a good time. Me personally, I really enjoyed just learning about the process because I didn't really know anything about how coffee is made or how it's picked or anything like that. So I had a really great time, and I would highly recommend stopping by.
So we just stopped over at a local gelato place after the coffee tour to pick up some ice cream. And this one is a mix of chocolate and coffee and something else. So let's give it a taste test. That's pretty intense on the coffee, I think.
Good.
This is definitely going to be Shipwreck's flavor of choice. I'm more of the Oreo type of person.
How's the Oreo?
It's really good. So after indulging in a little bit of sweet, we are now trying to work off the calories, and we are on a hike to a beach. So we're going to Makalawena Beach. It involves about a 15-20 minute hike down to the beach area. And the path is pretty rocky so far. It looks like you can only pass it with some 4x4 cars with like a lot of clearance. So we are just walking it.
So far we haven't found any good beaches, so I really hope that this beach is the one that changes my perspective about the Big Island. Otherwise, I don't know if I'm going to be coming back here because there's definitely some more compelling places to go, such as Maui and Oahu, that have really nice crystal clear beaches. So unfortunately, when we were walking down the path, we realized that was actually the path for 4x4s. But after a long walk, it finally led us here to this beautiful white sand beach. And to our surprise, we weren't able to find any turtles, but we found an endangered Hawaiian monk seal right behind us here.
I think coming here has definitely turned around my expectations of the Big Island a little bit. This sand is pristine and the water is just a great temperature actually. Yeah, it's a little cold once you first touch it, but you know, you warm up to it very quickly. But there is like no one here. We got some seals over there to take a look at, and big waves!
So to end off our last day on the Big Island, we came to a nice restaurant in Kona called Canoe House, where we're going to be having dinner. It's a Japanese-inspired restaurant, and it's actually situated on a really luxury resort. It's called the Mauna Resort. As soon as you walk in, you can tell like this is at a different level. I looked at the rooms; they're like around $1,400 a night. So this is the real definition of luxury here.
So we just wrapped up dinner here at the Canoe House, and while the environment itself is really nice and all the decor and everything is so well thought out, the food itself was definitely a bit of a letdown. The staff wasn't coming to us very quickly, and the food itself was extremely salty with limited vegetarian options. So overall, I would say I wouldn't come again. It was worth coming once just for the ambiance, but the food itself was not anything worth trying again.